from anyone? Any questions? Okay. So first of all, I'm creating the virtual network here. We know how to create a virtual network and subscription, resource group, and that VNet name and region of VNet and address range. We can define it, depends on our requirement. Class A, class B, class C, any IP address ranges we can define it, that especially private IP address, and at least one subnet is required when deploying virtual network. And next, tag and review and created. So we knows how to deploy the virtual network. So one more thing, gateway subnet. Right away, let me deploy it here. I forget here. Let me add subnet, gateway subnet. Okay. So I can provide the 10.0.0.1.0 slash 24. Okay. Click on add. Review and created. Create. Okay. And virtual network gateway also I'm going to deploy it, and it will be ready for tomorrow. At least today I will try to deploy it. So this is a, I can give the name VPN 01, and which region I want, East US2, and this is a one I'm going to use for VPN purpose, not express route and route based, that means a dynamic routing. And here SKU types depends on which SKU type you are selecting, accordingly we'll get the aggregate bandwidth and number of connections. And ending with the agent means zone redundancy will get it. So we already discussed this point, SKU types and everything. So here basic SKU type, and I'm selecting the Gen 1 now and virtual network, and automatically it will take in the gateway subnet also. And after that it's a public IP address. Already I have one public IP address use existing, and okay, might be yesterday I deleted. Okay, create a new, and VPN PIP 01, like that I'm providing. So here zone redundancy, zone redundant I selected. If it is a active mode, so that means there are different redundancy types is available for site to site VPN. Did we discuss about site to site VPN redundancies, or as of now we are not discuss? Can anyone confirm? Active, passive, active, active. How is
No,
the
sweet.
redundancy? Okay, let me discuss here. And here one public address, it's one VPN, and active mode means one more VPN, like within the same network, same gateway subnet, it's going to create a one more VPN, that is a VPN PIP 02, like that I can provide the public address. But we don't have such more redundancy wise, one more device on premises we don't have. So that's the reason I am going to use the existing, like sorry, I'm going to disable the active mode. So this active mode, I will explain it a little bit more. There are different scenarios is available. We'll try to understand. Okay. So right now I'm disabling, and if it is using the more active mode, we should use the BGP routing, broader gateway protocol routing. We should use it. If it is using means we required ASN number as well as BGP peer IP address. Generally, this ASN number and BGP peer IP address from Azure, and we automatically will get it. Automatically, we will get it. But on premises, and they will provide their BGP ASN number and BGP peer IP address. When we'll use it, those things I will explain it. Let's wait for. And right now, I'm disabling this BGP and BGP peer IP address related, totally disable, and review and created. Let's wait to, yes, click on create. Let me show you Azure VPN, more redundancy, Azure VPN redundancy. So high availability, that is a meaning. Here, by default, normally what we are deploying the things in on-premises, one VPN, that means virtual network gateway, or third party, any like, kind of Fortinet VPN, or it's a kind of somebody trying to join who's just a minute. Okay. So here, what I am trying to explain it here, try to understand. Generally, what happen in Azure platform, normally if you we are not enable the active mode, means we'll get the one virtual network gateway, and the second is a standby, like passive mode wise it's available by default. Okay, and Azure, and this is a one, and on-premises, and if it is using only one VPN, and that connection it will go like this connection to on-premises to Azure platform will create a connection. In case of Azure, and in case of Azure, and this VPN gateway is a down, and standby it will come as a add to and provide the services. Standby it will come as a add to and it will provide the services, guys. By default nothing perform it here, and by default automatically it will perform it. Standby it will going to and coming to as a add to and provide the services. Okay, so how much time it will take the recover the things, and anything means 1 to 3 minutes of to worst case. The connection recovery will be longer, about 1 to 3 minutes in the worst case. Okay, this is a standby. It will come automatically as a add to. That is a call we can call the failover. That failover automatically will happen, guys. Automatically will happen. So whenever anything wrong with the active instance, standby instance would take failover or automatically take the action, take the as a active. So at that time, when is a failover and time, like it won't take much time, but in worst case scenario, it will take 1 to 3 minutes of time to come as a active and provide the services. And provide the services. Normally, just is a like a service interruption it will happen if it is a very less than, means very less seconds, like around 10 to 15 seconds only generally. But in case of anything wrong with that, and it will take 1 to 3 minutes of time in worst case scenario. Okay, so this is a one of the redundancy type in virtual network gateway site to site VPN. Okay, and coming to here, same like in Azure platform, standby is available, but in on-premises end, this is a one virtual network gateway. Sorry, can you please go to mute, guys? Okay, so on-premises end, it's I required the more redundancy, means we can deploy the two VPNs in on-premises. This is a on-premises two connection single virtual network gateway. Single virtual network gateway also we can create a connection. So in this case, in on-premises, one of the down, another one will provide the services, or any one of the connection is broken, still it will provide the services. But Azure platform, and one is a active, that is a down, and standby it will come as a failover and providing the services. This is already I mentioned how much generally time and everything. Okay, this is a way one more redundancy type. This is a called multiple on-premises VPN devices and high available cross premises. We can call the high available cross premises. This is a one. Okay, another one. So suppose in Azure platform only, like when deploying the virtual network gateway, I shown you one is a active mode. If I enable active mode, if I'm going to enable the active mode, two virtual network gateways is going to deploy it, and I can create a two connections from on-premises to Azure platform. Two connections I'm going to create a on-premises to Azure platform. So here there is no, and in case of one virtual network gateway down, still another one it's provide the services without any interruption. Without any interruption. At a time, both the virtual network gateways is working. Both the virtual network gateways is a keep on running only. But in case of one connection down or one virtual network gateway down, still another virtual network gateway, another connection through that it will communicated. There is no service interruption wise. We can see the we can able to communicate to the on premises to Azure platform. This is also one more method. This is a one more method. So coming to another method here, totally this is a dual redundancy. So what is a dual redundancy? It's a on-premises and also two VPNs and Azure and two virtual network gateways from one virtual network gateway to two virtual network gateways, two connections, same like second virtual network gateway to second on-premises one, two connections. So totally dual redundancy we are getting in case of one connection down or one virtual network gateway down or on-premises also one virtual network gateway down, still another connections it providing the services. Another connection it will provide the services totally. So totally this is a dual redundancy connection. So generally most preferable and recommended to use the production workloads, especially in Azure platform. This is a dual redundancy workloads and it's a active VPN gateways to both the Azure and on-premises, and we can use it and providing the more redundancy. So this such a type of redundancy called dual redundancy. We can call the dual redundancy. In this scenario, we require the BGP routing. Without BGP routing, this dual redundancy we can't able to configure it. This is the must and should we require the BGP routing, guys. Okay. So generally 90% of companies it's will use the this dual redundancy. In case of starting they are not implemented. At least later on also they will implement it because of more redundancy wise it's a very important. Understood everyone? Any questions on different types of redundancies?
Usually companies will follow this process, right? Dual redundancy.
Yes, dual redundancy most recommended method, but might be all companies might be knows or they don't know about. I'm not sure. So can I I am seeing some of the environment also without dual redundancy also they are using different methods. Might be they are using like this way. Might be they are using some this method also like that different methods they will follow it. But mostly if they know very well known about Azure platform, yes, they will go with the dual redundancy. This one they will use it. And even if they ask you to, and you need to recommend it this method.
Kiran, in a dual redundancy, the
Hmm.
in Azure, the VPN will get that VNet gateway will get that it will be deployed in the same VNet or in a different VNet, the virtual network
Already
gateway.
what I like one thing, are we deploying two virtual network gateways?
No,
So in one virtual network gateway only, when I am deploying the one virtual network gateway in the Azure portal, second virtual network gateway also for deploying active mode wise, just we are selecting the active mode. So that what will happen? Two virtual network gateways is a deploying. That means single virtual network only, no?
okay,
So what is the use? If it is a this is a different virtual network, this is a different virtual network, where we can get it? Yes, we won't get
yes,
the redundancy.
yes,
So generally, hub network means single virtual network only. In Azure platform, hub network means only one single network. Yes.
yes,
So that means in Azure, and we are going to use the only one virtual network, two virtual network gateways, and same virtual network. Yes. So totally, we'll get the dual redundancy on this. Any more questions?
Uh, and virtual gateway 2. So do we need to configure that virtual gateway 2, or by default it will come while
We
creating the redundancy?
okay. So deploying wise. you need to select it active mode and provide the one public IP address, one more public IP address for this, and automatically deployed. But configuration, these connections, we need to create it. Otherwise, how it will create it? We need to create a
Okay.
connections for that. We need to specify it. Okay. So let me tell you the steps here. If you go to the Azure platform also, go to Azure platform, suppose virtual network gateway. So normally if I'm going to deploy it, okay. So if you observe the options, what are the options? If you are not selected, this option, if you are not selected, okay. So you will get the two virtual network gateways, but one is active, another one is a standby wise, you will get it. Got it? What I'm saying? This is
By
a
default.
active one by default. By default, you will get the active. This is a one. This is a standby wise. You will get it by default. So first one is a down. That active one is a down. Standby will fail over and come as a active and providing the services generally by default. No, I don't require. This is a one active standby. I don't require both the redundancy I required. That means is a active mode is a required. Yes. Understood what I'm saying? Both the things is a active mode wise I required. This is also active. This is also active I required. What I'm saying, understand? So in this scenario, you need to select enabled. Enabled means what happened? One more public IP address asking. So generally one virtual network gateway deploying means one public IP address only. But when you enable active mode, enable means one more virtual network gateway also coming to picture. That means as a active mode. So two public IP addresses are required. Yes. Is it right or not? Are you getting, guys? See, very simple. Like example, site-to-site VPN, how it will communicate it. Very basic question I'm asking. Very basic question I'm asking. So site-to-site VPN means how it works.
From VPN to gateway.
Okay, it over the internet or private IP address? Which one we need to use it?
over the internet.
Over the
O-
internet.
Over the internet. So if you require the redundancy means two public IP addresses are required or not?
Mm,
Very simple. Like example, let me tell you. Suppose you are taken one phone, man. Okay, one phone you are taken, and one SIM card you install it. So this is a redundancy for you. There is no redundancy.
no,
Yes.
no. Yeah.
So if you require the redundancy, what should you do? Like one more phone and one more SIM card if you have. This is a redundancy or not?
Yeah. I mean, alternate number is available.
Alternate number is available. Alternate phone also is available.
One
In case
also
of
available.
phone is broken, or my network is broken, or SIM card is broken, or phone is missing, or something happen, entirely another phone you have, another SIM card is providing the services. Yes.
Yes.
So this is a way like you are getting the redundancy. Same like from on-premises to Azure platform needs to be communicated. Suppose only one virtual network gateway is active is available. Okay, one virtual network gateway is active is available. So this is a redundancy you are getting here. This is a single connection. Are you getting the redundancy?
No.
No. So that means what is the required? You required the from on-premises to Azure platform one more connection required. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So that means at a time two public IP address it's a connecting to the on-premises VPN device. So that what will happen? The two connections is available in case of Azure and one virtual network gateway down or one connection is broken. it's another connection, another virtual network gateway is providing the services. Yes.
Right, Kiran. Yeah.
So that means you are getting the redundancy, but on-premises hand, suppose this VPN gateway is down, how you will get the redundancy? You won't get the redundancy. Yes.
Yes.
In this
No.
scenario, what should we do? Like on-premises and also two virtual network gateways. That means two VPN devices we need to use it. One connection for one Azure virtual network gateway, second connection for second virtual network gateway. Okay, good. In this also, in case of this connection is broken, another one providing. But this is also is a broken something, or might be it's an example. This connection is broken. Some connection I'm troubleshooting, but unfortunately Azure on-premises VPN is down, or Azure VPN is down, or this connection is also broken. So you won't get the redundancy. Yes. So what is the Microsoft saying that, okay, from first virtual network gateway to on-premises VPN to second virtual network gateway, one connection, and on-premises VPN to first virtual network gateway, create a connection. If it is any one of the connection is broken, still three connections is providing the services. Yes. Is one of the virtual network gateway or on-premises hand is broken, still another virtual network gateway will provide the services. Yes. You are getting the more redundancy. That is a called dual redundancy here. Understood, everyone?
Yes, Kiran.
Even if you are active mode, if you are using, this is a load balancing also will happen. That means the both at a time is available. That means distributing the load. What I'm getting the on-premises to Azure platform, it's a distributing the load. Multiple connections means it distributes the load. So I can reduce the my load onto single virtual network gateway. So I can provide the more services, best services I can able to provide it. Yes. Got it? Any questions? So silence means I hope is clear, or might be people are thinking so really understanding or not.
I am clear, Kiran.
Okay. What about remaining people?
I am also clear.
Okay. So like I hope is clear to everyone. Santosh, Satish, Narendra, Sudharani, and Arsha.
Yes, Karan.
Hopefully clear
Yes,
to
sir.
everyone.
Yeah, Karan, I'm good.
Yes,
Okay,
Kiran.
great. So it's a dual redundancy. Generally, we'll use it in site-to-site VPN wise. This dual redundancy will use it, and even recommended method. This is a one. Okay, if it is a, it's not mandatory to use it. This is a one. It's other methods is also available. Depends on company requirement. They can go with. Depends on the company requirement. They can go with. But it's a most recommended and use the more redundancy wise. This is a one, guys. I'm saying that. Okay. So coming to another one, it's a VNet to VNet also. This VPN we can use it in Azure platform only. Suppose this is a one tenant or this is a one more tenant. I want is a instead of VNet peering, I want to do the virtual network gateway. Yes, you can able to do it. Same like virtual network gateway. Using that, we can do the this VNet peering. Sorry, VNet, virtual network gateway. Using that, we can establish the communication. In this scenario, VNet to VNet, if you are doing, this is the same dual redundancy. In this scenario, it's not required. It's not required. It's not mandatory to required the BGP routing. BGP routing, it's not mandatory required. Okay, additional BGP optional unless transitive routing over the VNet to VNet connection is required. Okay, so it's not mandatory to use it until unless transitive routing, if it is using over the VNet to VNet, at that time only is required. Otherwise, it's not required. Okay, got it, guys? What I'm saying?
Yeah, Kiran.
Any more questions? Any doubts?
Kiran, what is the user for you doing the VNet to VNet in this case? In which
Okay,
scenarios it will use?
okay. Suppose I have on-premises this data center I have, and unfortunately my company have two tenants. Sorry, my company have two different tenants. Two different tenants means two different networks is available. Yes, this is a on-premises data center. So this is a my virtual network in one of the tenant. Suppose tenant A. So in this another tenant B is a I have hub and spoke I'm using. Tenant B also I'm using the hub and spoke. Then in this also tenant A hub and spoke I'm using. And on premises wise is a communication VPN is available. Now question is this tenant A, tenant B required the communication. Tenant A to tenant B required the communication. So one of the method generally we knows VNet peering. Yes, peering.
Yes.
So two different tenants also we can do the peering. That is also mentioned previously. So we can
Yes.
able to do the peering. But in case of if you are using on-premises to Azure platform BGP routing to dual redundancy in on-premises to Azure platform dual redundancy if you are using BGP routing totally you are using BGP routing totally you are using might be VNet peering wise if you are using might be sometimes we'll get the so that's case scenario I'm not pretty sure might be we'll get the BGP routing related issues might be will occur. BGP routing related issues might be will occur. So instead of that BGP routing problem, if I'm getting instead of routing wise, I can go with the this virtual network gateway to this virtual network gateway. One more connection I can create it.
Yes.
This virtual network gateway VPN to this another virtual network gateway VPN. I can create a connection so that what will happen automatically communicating this network to this network via VPN through that it will communicate it instead of peering. Got it? What I'm saying?
That's correct.
Can you come again, Kiran? Instead of Venus peering?
Instead of VNet peering, it's already tenant B is a virtual network gateway is available on premises to Azure platform. Yes. Same
Okay.
like tenant A also virtual network gateway to on premises to Azure platform is a communication. But I
Right.
require the tenant A to tenant B.
Mhm.
So I can go with the this virtual network gateway to this virtual network gateway. I can create a connection. Tenant
Okay.
A virtual network gateway to tenant B virtual network gateway. So my services in tenant A services can communicate via this virtual network gateway. Tenant B services also via virtual network gateway it will communicate it.
Okay, there is no VNet peering here.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? Hopefully is clear to everyone. Sorry, come again. Hopefully clear to everyone. If any questions, any doubts, let me know, guys.
But how that communication will be established from one VPN to another VPN, from one VNet to another VNet from this way?
I'm not getting what you are asking.
How the communication will be established? So we need to download that VPN for both the SIMs or what?
Like you are talking about this VNet tenant A to tenant B, you are talking about or something?
Yes,
What exactly?
tenant A to tenant B.
So you can do it, no? Virtual network gateway already is mentioned. This one is communicating. So automatically peering wise, all other peering networks, it will communicate via like this. Yes.
Okay.
is how is the on-premises to Azure platform? If you are doing the like virtual network gateway connection, how your on-premises network to workloads, how you is communicating? Same like this VNet also, this VNet is a virtual network gateway connection is available. Via like this, it will communicate it.
Okay, 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 understood, understood.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, no doubts, I think it's a we are good. Yes. From anyone, any questions?
No, Kiran.
I don't have Kiran.
Okay. So hopefully the when deploying the virtual network gateway also options I already shown you. So okay, our virtual network gateway is ready, but practically site to site VPN, it's not, we don't have much time. I need to prepare the on-premises end device, at least one VPN device, and Azure, and we already deploy the virtual network gateway. But how to create a connection tomorrow I will show you. But one more point I want to explain to you everyone, that after that point I will take the session is a good to close it. And one more point is a Azure VPN devices. This is a one. So here Microsoft saying that, so as of now we are discussing Azure and virtual network gateway, but on premises and also we required some VPN device. Yes, on premises and we required some VPN device. Which VPN devices Microsoft Azure platform is supporting? We need to understand, no, that point
Yes,
also.
yes. Yes, yes, Kiran.
So what type of devices we should use it in on premises? So you can see here Microsoft saying that this type of vendor and device family and minimum OS version should be run on that, and that device is a support the policy based or route based. What is the supporting? Everything is a, they clearly given the everything here. So you can see any type of vendor like A10 networks, AHN lab, Allied Telecast, Arstria, Broadcast, Checkpoint, Cisco, Citrix, F5, Fortinet, Fujitsu, Hilston Networks, Internet Initiative Japan, Jupiter. Jupiter also so many things. Microsoft Windows Server also we can use it and establish the communication, and Open System AG, Palo Alto, like so many different pass, like so many different variety of VPN devices Microsoft supporting that vendor name. Coming to the device family also they clearly mention. If it is a Cisco, ASA, ASR, CSR, ISR, and Meraki and vEdge. These are the device families supported, and minimum OS version should be run on the device family, these versions. Otherwise, something else it won't support it. If it is a might be establish the communication, might be it won't work, might be you will get the different issues. So Microsoft, what they are supporting wise, they given the in this documentation. What they are really supporting all device vendors, device family, and voice version clearly given. Even configuration guide also available here. Suppose my company using A10 networks related, how to configure from on-premises to Azure platform. The configuration guide also clearly given, guys. Step by step, you can see here that A10 networks deployment guide and A10 Thunder FW IPsec VPN interoperability with the Azure VPN gateway. So step by step clearly given. Each every vendor it's a they given the how to configure the on-premises to Azure platform, clearly given the documentation, guys. You can see most of the thing configuration guides is available. Okay. Any questions?
Okay.
So using this configuration guide, we can able to understand and support which one it's going to support it and how is the configure we can able to do it. Yes, in case of what I'm explaining, only one type of device I'm going to take it and accordingly I'm going to show you. But remaining devices how we can configure means You can refer the documentation. In case of you get the chance and do the things, you can refer this document and you can perform it. But generally on-premises and VPN, on-prem networking guy will take care the things. On-prem networking guy will take care the this thing. But Azure and only deploying and create a configuration, Azure and only we are going to take it. So no worries. Generally 99.99% is a our and only Azure and only we'll do it. And on-premises and on-premise networking guy will take care the things. Okay. Any questions on this? So in our scenario, which device I'm going to take it means Microsoft. So I'm going to deploy as a Microsoft server, Windows server, and using that one routing and remote access enabled, and using to it's a supported route based only, and static routing it won't supported, policy based routing it won't supported. So I'm going to show you how I can able to use it, how I'm going to establish the communication, and how I'm going to create everything. I'm going to show you tomorrow. Okay. So minimum this is a OS version, and later version I can use it. That means 2022, 2012 minimum version, 2016, 2019, 2022, any one also I can utilize it. I can use it. Okay. Got it? So
Yes.
tomorrow, let's see the practical about how to establish the communication from on-premises to Azure platform, and entirely end to end. I'm going to show you guys.
Okay, Kiran.
So hopefully is clear to everyone, like the dual redundancies and this part, everything. So guys, if you look into that, AG 305, that is a solution architect. If you go to solution architect, same topics again discuss about. If it is a VPN means dual redundancy, they will discuss. So that means single course only, totally solution architect as well as Azure administration, both the things I'm covering here. Try to understand. Most of the solution architect related also it's a covering here. Okay. The topics also covering here, and no worries, and easily you can able to give the exam AG 104 as well as 305 also. Little bit you need to prepare it, and easily you can provide the exam also for that. Okay.
Okay, Kiran.
So that's it from my end, and we'll meet tomorrow, and we'll discuss the see the practical about site-to-site VPN. After that, we'll look into that express route, how it works and everything. We're going to discuss.
Okay, Kiran.
Yeah,
Uh, can you just look into this?
yes, sure. So other people, if you want continue, you can continue. Otherwise, you can drop the call.